Hey guys, let me get this situated. 1 p.m. snuck up on me. Let's bake some macs. Okay, let's see if I can get this in frame. Macarons and my face. No, I'm not gonna squat the whole time. Let's see over here maybe. Hello, excited you guys are here. Don't mind me while I get this situated. I guess I could do it here, but it's kind of far. Let me get my computer set up. Yo, yo, yo. I don't know why I said that. I shouldn't have, so ignore that, please. Hello, Christina. Nice to see you guys. Let me make sure this is muted. This, you can't really see. I'm really dark, huh? Because of the lighting. Oh, you're taking a break from your vacation. I read a message from you. Thank you for joining. Hi, you guys. Heavenly Mac. Hi, Marcy. I'm trying to read the comments quick enough. Sorry, my face probably looks. Helen, hello. All right. Hey, you guys. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Is it too dark? Oh no, I'm buffering. Let me see. I'm buffering. Can I quickly check this out? Okay, it may be the other person's internet. Are you guys able to find me? Because I can try to turn my internet off and stream. No buffering for you. Okay. Phew. Let me know if I am. Keep me posted because I will. My computer's not showing me, so perfect. We can see your mat too. Okay, so it wasn't too dark if you're back here? Like this? We can make, we can pipe. Good on your end. Perfect. All right, then we should get started. We are wonderful. I am muted. Put my laptop over here so I can see you guys better. Thank you, Susan said she likes the new kitchen. This is a little bit crooked. Hi, Jaslyn. All right, guys, I don't know who prepped and what, but we can start baking. We're gonna make our meringue. I posted the recipe that I'm gonna be using on my stories on Instagram. So we're using 54 grams of egg whites. I said liquid egg whites, I just meant to differentiate between the dried egg whites and liquid egg whites. I didn't mean liquid from a carton. So if you're using carton egg whites, that's great too, but this is fresh. So 54 grams egg whites, our TPT, our temps per temps, or confectioner sugar, almond flour is in here, 72 grams of each of those. Then we've got, what was it, 50 grams of sugar with 2 grams of dried egg whites in here. Oh, it's late over there. Yeah, I was trying. 1 p.m. is an interesting time, but it seems to work for us. So thank you for joining in, even though it's a little late for you to start baking. I always like to just share the egg white brand because I get a lot of questions about it. I don't recommend meringue powder. I have had a lot of people say they have subbed it out and used the meringue powder in place of egg white powder and they worked. So you could try. However, I prefer dried egg whites. It's 100% egg white powder, dried up, so it's all protein that's gonna strengthen your meringue. So that's this. There's lots of different brands out there on Amazon. I know my Canadian friends and some international friends have not been able to find it. I've heard a couple people at Bulk Barns have it in Canada. I think it's called Bulk Barns Food. So you can look there. It is what it is. If you cannot get it, do not worry. Just omit it. You don't have to do anything with your recipe. Just omit the egg whites, dried egg whites. Okay. That disclaimer being said, let's get started. Hello from California. We've got lots of people. Caitlin, thanks for joining us. So someone asked how many macs this recipe makes. It's fairly small. It's about a dozen macarons, depending on how big you make your batch. Your macarons, sorry. Yes, a Canadian friend just said at Bulk Barn. Let's see here. Oh, they were just specifying that, yes, it's called Bulk Barn. Sorry, I was thinking that they had found the beautiful egg white powder. I don't know what okay. Let's move on. Hello from Florida. Lots of places. Hello from France. Sri Lanka. All right. Hello, Zena. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get started. I love that you guys are here. Someone was calling me. I don't know if it cut out for you guys. Okay. So we've got 54 grams of egg whites. I'm gonna mix it with my Cuisinart hand mixer on the lowest level. Put in my sugar and then mix it up higher once that sugar is dissolved into it. In the recipe, I made the mistake of putting sucrose and I confused some people. That's just regular table sugar, like granulated sugar. So you don't need to be confused with that. It is, is it okay? It's just regular sugar. You can definitely double this recipe. You can triple this recipe. It's a very small amount. So yes, you can definitely make it larger. If you go to my macaron tutorial, this recipe is based off of Indulge with Mimi, and there is a larger recipe there that's the base recipe. I cut it in like, I cut it a little bit less than a half, or more than a half, less than a half. Anyways, I'm making a small batch because I don't know how this is going to work today. And this doesn't look nice. Is that better? Okay. Okay, let's get started. Regina. Oh, I'm so glad I was able to answer. I've been really behind on my DMs and answering messages, so I'm glad you found that I was able to answer. I'm gonna get started, so I'm gonna stop talking, but I will look at what you're writing. With a hand mixer, it's really quick to get these foamy. I'm just gonna sprinkle in the sugar. Okay, so I'm just mixing, it's about dissolved, and I'm gonna turn my mixer up. It's only 3 speeds, so I'm on 2. I can't type with my left hand. turn up to level 3. Right now I don't even have peaks. It's just runny still. So I'm gonna go all the way to 3, speechless. Very soft peaks. I am going to add the coloring. I have Chef Rubber powdered colors. It's burgundy. I want a super light look to these. I'm just gonna do a tiny bit. I was gonna do nude, and then I thought, let's add a tiny bit of color. We're making blackberry lemon, so I could go really strong with the color, but I wanted something a little more subtle today. So we've got a tiny, probably 1/8 of a teaspoon of color. You guys can add whatever color you want. Again, that brand is Chef Rubber. This burgundy can be so pretty, Helen, if you do a lot of it too. Nice and deep. So, they're not stiff enough quite yet, but they are holding striations. So I always want to check when it starts to really clump around that whisk. I check frequently. I want to go a little bit farther because even if the middle of the bowl tends to be stiff, the outsides get left out when I'm using my hand mixer, I've noticed. So I like to go a little bit, like 30 more seconds. See, if you look inside the bowl, they are sticking up now. So this is gonna be good. I call that grand. And I was curious if this is the bowl scraper someone was asking about. If so, I got it at pastry school. You might be able to get something on Amazon though. Hi, Gail. Yes, the lighting in here is so nice. See how this color mutes a little bit though when you whip and aerate it? It's a really nice, that's exactly what I was going for. So this is our stiff peaks. Ready? It's nice and stiff. Like it's not gonna plop off of my spatula, okay? I forgot to put my apron on. Okay, my dried ingredients I'm going to put in. I wanted to weigh it, just after moving, I'm always worried things get messed up. And I like to double check my weight measurements. So this is 72 and 72, which together would be for 150, 154? I shouldn't do math on here. Let's see, 72 plus 72, 2 and 2 is 4, 14, 142. Is that right? No, 144. Okay, 144 grams. So I'm gonna put in only a little bit, so that's 72 right there, perfect. Half is going in. I'm going to go around my bowl, being very gentle at this point, and kind of just mix it in so it's moistened, the dries. And then at this point, I can add my second addition. I didn't tear it, so it's 144. Good, we're good. Excuse my mouth problems. All right. Let's finish our macaronaging, or right now we're just mixing in the dries. The actual macaronage process is the deflating process. So let's mix, and then we'll deflate on purpose. So right now I'm trying to be super careful and just moisten those dries and get them evenly throughout that meringue. And then after that, we will purposefully and carefully deflate. So always get that bottom of the bowl and incorporate those dries. Scrape off on your spat on the sides. Christina, I'm so glad I'm not the only one that does math like that, because it is embarrassing. I'm usually like, hey, Alexa, you know, and I talk to her, but she's not plugged in right now, so. Anyways, this is, someone asked about humidity, what precautions you take if you have added humidity. So I took out 1 gram of egg white, liquid egg whites in this recipe for today. It's only 40-something% humidity here today. However, I was a little concerned just because I'm not used to this. It feels kind of muggy in my home right now because I don't have the air on. And I'm used to always working with my air conditioner on. However, this is a bigger home now and I just don't want to use that money of the air conditioner. So we're gonna see how it goes baseline, no air conditioner, and see if I can get away with no air. But it's a nice day to try that out because it's not overcast or rainy or humid. So I am pushing down and around and over, and then I do an extra move the bottom up to the top. So you're doing this evenly. Push down, around and over, push the bottom to the top. Down, around and over, bottom to the top. Down, around and over, just like that. I have a, let's see here, 9mm tip. I forget, we did the macaron, some ladies and I did a test. I don't know what that is equivalent in like Wilton tips, because I know a lot of people use Wilton. I don't, but this is 9mm, so you can always just measure the tip and see. I feel like this makes more sense to do it in just random numbers and instead do it in measurements. So I'm really close. I'm nervous to overmix here with the added humidity, so I'm just going to be slightly cautious with how much I'm mixing. Pretty flowy. I'm gonna go a little further. I haven't looked at your comments recently. Yeah, so Ray, I would definitely try, you know, just play around with your ingredients. Take out a few grams. So I took out a few grams of, or 1 gram of liquid egg whites for how small this is. I'm gonna go with this. It's flowing consistently, it hasn't broken. So I'm gonna say that's good. I'm gonna put my 9mm tip in. These are the Flour Girl. I always say how much I love these because they're reusable. You're not wasting plastic every single time. And they're so easy to clean. Not sponsored one bit, you guys. Just, I've been searching, and even though I would prefer like a large bag, I just like to put all my batter in one. This is it's just a tiny inconvenience, but just totally worth it if I could get it down. Okay, you want to put the tip up in your cup if you use this method, just so it doesn't all spill out. We're going to pour it in and pipe, and then I will look at your comments because I'm getting behind. So this color's pretty. Looks like a muted blackberry kind of feel. Still wanting to, can you tell I'm nervous? I'm like playing with it still. Okay, let's just go for it. Pour it in, pour it in. It is such a pretty day here. We couldn't have asked for a better day. Okay, so when I'm piping, press down all your batter as close to the tip as you can. Turn it whichever way. I mean, I am using my right hand, so I turn it left, and then you can keep turning it easily as you pipe. I've got this mat from Amazon. It is large, and I just wanted to make sure that I would have enough space to pipe. It's coming out. So that's why I chose this one today. Let's see if I can get you guys closer. Actually, it was just too high for me, but I'll try. Does that work? Here we go. Let's just get, I had a little excess coming off, so. Okay, we ready? Let's do it. I'll pipe down here since you can't see that part. The macaron recipe is on my Macaron stories, but also what you can do is you can look back at my macaron tutorial. It's an in-depth tutorial, and there is the recipe in the description of the video. So I'm just piping 90-degree angle until I hit the second dotted line, or the first dotted line, sorry. And then I stop pressure and then flick around. Because I don't know this oven well, I'm gonna try to stay in the middle of my mat, and then I will venture out to the sides if I need to, because most ovens will have their hot spots in the corners. Isn't this color pretty though? I'm loving it. Okay, let's go to the sides. Let's see, we'll go up here. I turned on the oven yesterday to do some, like roast some broccoli. It seemed to stay true to temperature according to my thermometer, but we'll see. Okay. Good thing I chose the big one. My least favorite thing is making a recipe and then having to do one whole silicone mat and then like 2 on the last. All right. Where are you guys at? Those baking with me? Are you guys ahead of me because I'm talking? Let's dry our macarons. I'm gonna put mine over in the dining room area just because it feels a little warm. Tap it out gently. So that's nice when they just lay out nice and even. and I'm going to put them in a different room because these lights are just a little bit hot and I don't want to add any excess. Gently. Was that gently enough, you think? Or was that excessive? Okay, I'm gonna go put these there and then I'm gonna get my computer and actually answer some questions. Why is your batter becoming thick? You know, are you for sure that your scale was properly calibrated and that you have the right measurements? Okay, I'm gonna actually Barry translate if I want. Okay, let me move. I'm gonna go up on the feed a little bit just to catch up on some questions, and then I'll get back to the ones that are recent. All right, so someone asked about, I love that people are answering each other's questions though. This is my favorite. I love this community. So back to someone saying that their color's brown if you want to do more of a nude color. It's definitely something you have to play around and do trial and error with your oven. For some reason, my previous oven did really well with whites. It didn't seem to brown. I even baked for 22 minutes. So that wasn't my issue, but I've heard a lot of bakers say they'll put parchment over their macs in the last few minutes of baking so it doesn't brown. I've heard some put an empty tray wherever the heat source is coming from. They'll put an empty tray below it or above it to stop it from the heat getting too hot and burning either the bottom of your macarons or the top of your macarons. It could even be an issue of moving racks to a little bit farther away from your heat source if your macs are browning. It's just something to play around with. Okay. So here we go. How to make sure your macarons won't crack. We'll see if they crack today. The main things I have really kind of honed in on these last few years is making a really strong macaron, making a really strong meringue. I feel like your strong meringue is going to in turn make a strong shell. If you're having issues with soft shells and cracked tops and everything like that, I feel like it has to do with a lot of things, obviously, but a sturdy meringue, making sure you're not over mixing and causing it to be too runny and then it's not strong enough, or under mixing and having too much air in there and then it puffing out when it's in the oven. Also, too hot of temperatures can just make them burst in your oven. So those are some things to look at if your macarons are cracking. Oh, I love it. Maternity leave. Macarons. I love that everyone put 144. Thank you for your help in math. I wasn't looking. Okay. Okay. Yes, Siri's my calculator too, Zena. I'm sorry, I'm really late in this. Okay. Why do macs get slightly browned at 150? And that's, again, you might need to bake less or figure out your heat source and kind of switch around your macs as you bake. Melanie, there'll be another time you can bake around. Let's see here. I know, people who work, you know, it's nice that you're tuning in though, and this is definitely not an ideal time for that. So you can always re-watch when you're baking and it'll just be like baking along. Let's see here. So Joy asked if when selling small batches of macarons, if you need a permit. It depends on where you're at. I've learned here in Portland that there's an exemption law so it's not called cottage food law. There's a kitchen license, a home kitchen license. I think they call it a domestic kitchen license, or there's a domestic or like an exemption law where you still have to make labels and such, and you're kind of operating under the assumption that you're doing everything right, but no one really regulates you unless you get, unless someone calls food safety on you and you've environmental health, but I think it's agriculture, business of agriculture here. Everything's different. The terms of the government are different here, but hopefully I'm not confusing you. To be honest, it's really up to where you live, Joy, and it seems like Portland you can sell without having a permit. However, you're still required to go through the business, I think it's Department of Finance, to tell and to report how much you're making. So then if you're over a certain amount of money, they will make you pay taxes on it, which makes sense because that's your income. So it really depends on how much you want to go by the rules and make sure everything is in order. But I don't think anyone would come and get you if you were doing small batches and didn't report it, if that makes sense. Okay. But I'm a kid. Carly, the pink flamingo, can you still bake? How old are you? You could still bake. I think you can bake. Unless, okay, I'm 12. Since you were 11, that's awesome. Okay, let's see here. The IKEA clip just above the tip. I don't know what that is. I look like Hermione. I've been told that a few times. Do you make up though? So someone asked if the 1 gram of egg whites that I took out of the liquid, if I made up for it in egg white powder, and this time I did. However, they're not interchangeable, like 1 gram per 1 gram. They're not equal like that. If you look at here, it's 1 large egg is 1 tablespoon of dried egg whites, and 1 tablespoon of dried egg whites is probably 12 grams. I don't know. Usually a tablespoon's about 12 milliliters or 15 milliliters in liquid weight. I don't know. I'm making it too difficult. Either way, they're not interchangeable, so I wouldn't do that all the time. I'm just playing around with the recipe today because I'm nervous in a new environment. I'm getting confusing. Okay. So someone asked if there's any way when it's raining outside to make successful macarons, and yes, there's definitely a way. Close all your windows. If you have air conditioner, blast your air conditioner, dry out the place while you're making your macarons. If you do not have central air, you can get a dehumidifier, which I might invest in. Run that for a few hours before you're baking, and it will make it less humid in your environment. I'm gonna turn on my oven now to 300, I think. Let's do 300. And I think I'll probably put it down only to 290 here for the first time, and we'll see. Okay. I bake on the back of my tray for better airflow. In my previous oven, I had issues and I would get cracked macarons because they were stuck and the heat would just sit in it and it wouldn't circulate air well and it would get cracked in those spots. So if you don't have the lip of the tray, so if you have just a tray that doesn't have a lip, you don't have to do the back, but because I have lipped trays, I flip them over for better air circulation. Someone asked what kind of spatula is good. You know what? It really depends on the maker because I prefer a really stiff. This is pretty stiff spatula. Some people like a really flimsy one to get in there and move it around. But I like these Rubbermaid spatulas. You can get them on Amazon. I have not baked on stoneware. I've baked on French steel, blue steel trays, and I do enjoy that. It's good conduction of heat. But I'm not really, is stoneware like a pizza stone? Someone's having troubles with their macarons sticking to their silk pack. And you know, some ovens, if you think that your macarons are baked all the way, that's the first thing. Either you need to bake it longer, or some ovens really don't do well with silicone mats. I feel like I've been told that people's macarons are completely done and it's still sticky on the bottom. And I don't know what the reason for this would be, why certain ovens don't deal well with silk pads, but I would suggest trying parchment if you can't bake longer without over baking, because that's the simple answer, is that you need to bake longer. But that's a high temperature, 320. I do not have a convection oven. This is simple, conventional oven. Trying to think of the word. Okay, could we be underbaked if trying? Oh yes, okay, someone answered you. Oh, you guys are asking each other. Okay. Did I miss people? For how long do we, yeah, I think my feed went down. Sorry if I missed you. I have not put them in the oven. I'm letting them dry over out of the area of the kitchen. My oven is putting off a lot of heat, and I feel like it adds a humid element into the kitchen. So I put them in a different area, and hopefully they will dry quicker over there. But I'm not sure. We'll see. I preheat my oven and just until it like goes beep beep when it preheats properly. Very technical. I don't like to run it for a really long time because it adds heat and moisture into the air. So I don't run it like 30 minutes or whatnot before. I do it right when I'm gonna bake. I might have been premature with it actually today, so we'll see. What color food coloring do I use? Today I use Chef Rubber, powdered colors. See if you can see it. It's kind of, but I used Chef Rubber color. Someone also asked if they want darker, deeper colors, if they should use powdered colors. And I've had better luck using both. If I want like a black, I like to use a little bit of both. Chef Rubber, I love their colors, but black is not one of them that I like. It turns more brown, so I don't recommend that brand. But if you use a black cocoa powder with Americolor gel, that's really nice. Or the Sugar Arts black as well. But in all the food colorings I use and prefer, Americolor, Chef Rubber, Chef Master, and the Sugar Art. Those are my top 4 colors. Someone asked, what do we do, or what happens if you overmix the meringue? It's gonna start getting really dry, and it almost looks clumpy, and I think dry is the best way to like cotton ball-y. I don't know, but you'll be able to tell. I need to do this. I told already, I keep forgetting, I need to overmix meringue and just show you guys a picture, because it's something to really, you need to know what it looks like, right? We don't want to get hollow shells. Someone says that they are getting stiff peaks, but then they're hollow macarons, and it's definitely a trade-off of making it nice and sturdy of a shell, but making sure you don't over whip that meringue. It's hard. You just have to keep practicing, and I know that's an annoying answer, but practice, practice, practice. I still have the issues I've shown you guys before, especially when I'm talking and trying to do it at the same time. I get distracted easily. I still get hollow shells, you know, so I'm like trying to show you, but I will push up the bottoms if that happens, if there's too big of a gap. What is that pink bottle? Is it this one? Oh, this pink bottle? That's just a vase, a little vase that has no flowers in it. Carly has a baby sister. It does matter. Someone said their macaron feet always extend outwards and never up. And this is an issue. Sometimes, I mean, this is how a lot of the bakeries have their look too. Italian meringue, I feel like it does frequently ruffle out as well. It has to do with the amount of heat and how your oven source heats. My mother-in-law's oven that I would bake at when I was staying with her for a while is convection, and I would get the ruffled feet too, and they would extend out. I think it's honestly heat distribution, your pan. If you're using parchment, I find it easier to ruffle as well, and sometimes it's too much liquid in your recipe as well. So many things. Okay, guys. How long do we preheat the oven? I think I answered that one. My Mac's always hollow. I don't have shiny shells. I feel like sometimes the lighting make them look shiny. I feel like the color is vibrant, but the sheen is usually the lighting and just an Instagram thing probably. Yeah. Conventional oven, no fan on my oven. Bake longer, okay. Fragile tops. So someone is still having fragile tops, giant feet, and hollows after trying lots of times. You know what? This recipe might not be the best for you if that's happening. If you feel like your meringue is stiff, if you feel like your macaronage and your batter is nice and flowy and thick still and not overworked, even after piping it and working it through your piping bag, maybe try a different recipe in your environment. Maybe this is not the best for yours. I know that with Indulge with Mimi was from Vancouver, so perhaps, you know, it's better for the rainy environment. I have no idea, but if you're in a dry environment, perhaps it's not the best for you. You can try something different. That is strange, Christina. I wonder if it's oven temp or if it's something with the method. That's really interesting. Like perhaps with Italian method, if your sugar syrup, maybe if you don't boil off as much moisture, if you take it to a little bit of a lower temp, I wonder if that causes the ruffles, and if you go a little bit longer and have more less moisture, if your feet get more of like a straight look. Oh, I'm glad you guys like this window. I am in love with it. I wish it was, I mean, yeah. I need to stop sometimes. Okay. Yes, doing notes every single time. I feel like I'm gonna have to start doing that. This is getting hot because who knows how successful we'll be. It took me a good few months of trial and error in my oven at the previous home to figure out what works for me. So we'll see. However, whenever I did demonstrations at other people's homes, I didn't have issues with their home. So it's really interesting. You never know what you're gonna get with macarons. I'm gonna go check to see if they're dry, and then we can see if we can put these babies in the oven, and then I'll come. Okay, they're still sticky. Wondering if I should turn the air on, but I don't really want to either. I don't even know where there's air vents up here actually, so we'll see. We'll give it a little bit longer to dry out, and then we can hopefully bake soon. Hi, Laura. Let's see. Someone's macarons, they said, come out nice out of the oven, but then they soften at the top after a few hours in the fridge. Ashwin, do you live in a humid area, and are you putting your macarons in an airtight container? Annette, when it comes to hollow shells, there are so many different things that it could be, but I really think if you feel everything is right regarding your process and technique, that maybe either a different oven, you can't really change the oven, maybe a different recipe might work better in your environment, or switching the recipe a little bit, taking things out, replacing it with something else, like a little bit less liquid, a little more sugar, and see if that helps you get a full cookie. Also, ovens are a real big thing. If you can't seem to get a full macaron, it could really be your oven. I know we're not gonna go purchase a new oven though, so people don't like that answer, but you know, these cookies are a little bit finicky. Are my kids interested in making macarons? They're interested in eating them more so than anything. They like to decorate them and eat them, but they don't really, they enjoyed when we've piped them, they enjoy that, but the mixing part doesn't fascinate them as much as me. Let's see here. So, Sonia, it's asked how long I bake my macarons and at what temperature. I used to bake at 300, and then I would drop my temperature down to 275 and bake for 21 minutes. However, this is a new experience. I will probably check around 18 minutes and see how it's doing. I preheated at 300, and I'll probably only drop to 290. I'm hoping this oven keeps heat in better and doesn't regulate. My last oven would spike up in temperature as soon as I added a tray. I'm hoping this regulates better and just stays at true temperature of what I have asked it to do. Someone asked how long macarons are good for after the maturing stage. It really depends on the filling you use, how wet your filling is. With this blueberry filling that I shared on my Instagram stories, it's a little more wet. So I would say 2 to 3 days after the initial 2 days of maturation. But if it's a buttercream or a ganache that really doesn't leach too much moisture into your shell, I've had Macs in my refrigerator for a week and enjoyed them probably 2 weeks. to be honest. I haven't sold Macs that late, but I have definitely eaten them, and they were fine still. Can you freeze dried fruit powder? Oh, can you add freeze dried fruit? Yes. Yes. I have done it with strawberry macarons, freeze dried fruit. It changes the texture a little bit. It makes it a little bit chewier, I guess you'd say. You know, freeze dried, as soon as it gets a little wet, it kind of, I don't know the word, it gets a little, not gummy, but kind of like that. So it changes the texture a tiny bit, but they're still really good. You just have to make sure not to overbake. Someone also asked previously, they said they liked this recipe, but could they reduce the sugar? I never recommend reducing sugar. I know some people do, but that can aid in hollow shells as well. I'm all about sugar. Let's see. 2 batches today. Ugh. Double wall convection oven. I want to be you, Christine. So someone said they've been using the same method for months and everything's the same, and yet all of a sudden it's not working. I've had this happen so many times. The environment really does change up things, so don't put it past the extra humidity in the air, or perhaps if you opened up a new almond flour or different product, even if it's the same brand, they can vary and it can screw up your stuff. I've opened up bad batches of, it's not bad where it's rancid, but it's extra dry, even though you think you would want dry almond flour, extra dry and mealy, and I just haven't been able to make some batches of almond flour work. So it really could be a product. If you've even mixed up your confectioner sugar, that could be an issue. Or maybe sometimes after we think we've got something down, we don't take enough precautions as we used to. Like, we kind of get lazy with it and stuff starts to hit the fan. So maybe go back to square one, take all the precautions, pretend like this is your first time, and it really can help. Will I be selling macarons from home here? I'm still trying to decide. I've talked to a food specialist, food safety specialist here, and she was so nice, so informative. I have dogs, and so it doesn't seem like I'm able to sell from my home here. Whereas in California, you could take them out of the kitchen area, put them into a different room, sanitize and bake. Whereas here, I think if they're ever in your house, you can't. So something I'm looking into still. I need to really figure it out, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. And with kids only going to school 2 days a week, possibly, everything is kind of up in the air right now. We're all kind of going through it right now, I feel like. Okay. How do I feel like I should turn my oven off because it's been on for so long. Let me go check the max real fast and then I'll. All right, my husband turned the fan on and it helped. So it's just a ceiling fan. Hopefully it doesn't like blow air in a certain way that would cause lopsidedness. I've had it all happen. And when I first started doing the air conditioner, I put it right under the vent without realizing it, and that would cause some lopsided max too. Kind of have to make sure it's an even flow on it. So I'm touching. These are dried. Cross your fingers. We're gonna put them in. I'm gonna check my air temperature. I'm gonna check my oven temp, see what temperature it's at and if I have to turn it down at all. So we'll see. Wish us luck. Just to be safe, I'm gonna go down to 290. I'm gonna turn on for 10 minutes and then I will check. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited we're doing this though. So, I don't remember what I was saying before that, but they are in. Someone else's are in the oven as well. Crossing our fingers for us all. How would you double a recipe, Nana asked. And if you just multiply each ingredient by a factor of 2, you will get a doubled recipe. Once in a blue moon, I get perfect mac. Right? That's how I feel too. I feel like they're never full up to the top like I want. We're bombarded with perfect pictures on Instagram, and it's just not how it is for everyone. Don't feel like I have perfect macs every time. They might look nice. They are pretty full, but I still get a gap, and I try not to have it worry, like, because really when I do get a nice full macaron, I actually don't prefer that taste. It's too thick. It's not light and airy like I've had macarons and I feel like how they should be. However, because of Instagram, I feel like I'm bombarded with these things and I feel like it should be full. Yes, it shouldn't be hollow completely, but air pockets and such really do make that cookie the delicate cookie it's supposed to. So don't worry so much about a full, almost sometimes they look like, the pictures I see of full macarons look so dry. Like they don't even look like how the meringue cookie should look. Well, not a meringue cookie, but the macaron cookie should look. Yes, it makes it more delicate, exactly. Dora, thank you. I saw before that you said it was so hot there, and I looked yesterday, it was like 95 in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's just getting too hot. I need to bake right away. Someone asked if once their shells are dry, if they need to bake right away. And I suggest doing so. It really does depend on your environment though. When it was raining in Los Angeles, I would have them dry and then wait still 20 minutes because I would still get cracks. Let me vent my air real fast. I'm so nervous. I would let them dry excessively when it was raining because I would still get cracks even if it was dry to the touch. So it depends on if you have a humid environment, but if you don't, if you feel pretty confident, bake right away once they're dry because the sooner you bake, for at least in my experience, because I've also heard people say they waited 2 hours to bake and they were so full. But macarons can be such a bee, but I feel like I get fuller macaron shells when I don't have them rest very long. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me move on to this. How do you store your macaron shells? Someone asked. I have a video on that if you want to check it out. Macaron storage, and it's like purple macarons on the front of me holding like a box, a Tupperware of macs. Definitely airtight containers in the fridge if they're filled, freezer if they're not filled, or if you want to have the shelf life extended, freezer. I got all possible issues with my macs except hollows. That's good that they're not hollow. Using cream of tartar is good, yeah. So the difference between cream of tartar and egg white powder, cream of tartar helps stabilize the meringue, whereas, so cream of tartar is like an acid, right? It helps stabilize. And then egg white powder is a protein that helps strengthen. I've heard some people use both in combination. I've never had cream of tartar on hand, so I haven't tried it, but you could try both. Oh, of course, Ray, I'm happy to have shed some light. I don't know what I did, but I'm happy you feel good about it. My gas oven takes forever to heat up. Yeah, I feel like gas ovens definitely take a little bit longer than your electric. I feel like that's kind of quick. I'm sorry if I'm really behind on your guys' questions. Please ask again because I got too behind when I was making the max. And the tops of the max dry quickly. Can my oven be the problem? Your oven could be the problem, for sure. And you could definitely try playing around with that, making sure your oven temperature is high enough, so because that usually causes those soft, fragile tops. If your oven temp is pretty true and you feel like your oven temp is okay, perhaps moving your tray away or closer to your heat source if you're getting fragile tops. It's like a fun game, or not so fun game, of trying to figure out how to make your oven work for your macarons. For how much cream of tartar for this recipe, I have no idea. Maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon. Super precise. Weak tops. Joy says she's been having hollow and weak tops with this recipe, and if you rest too long, I feel like my tops get weak too. If you're able to put your macarons in quicker, that might help both the hollow and the weak tops. Oh, good. Renee said that raising the oven temperature helped her with her fragile top. So those are a couple things you can do if we're having issues with soft, fragile tops. Again, my last oven was I'd have to go down to 275 to keep my internal temp around 290. So that's why I would go so low. Some ovens also, like, a lot of people have said their oven shoots up as well, so it's worked for them, but that doesn't mean it will work for you, and you can definitely play around with the oven temp. Half sheet tray, should I pipe the last 2 trays? So Annette asked, I believe if I'm reading this correctly, if you're making a larger batch, should you keep some of the batter in your piping bag and then pipe when it's closer to time? Is that true? Let's see. Should I pipe the last 2 trays when I pipe the first 2? Yes. So I haven't had luck keeping French meringue macaron batter in the piping bag to wait for later. I know some people who have, so mine breaks down in the bag, and then I pipe it, and then it's even more broken down, and usually I get soft tops when that happens. With Italian meringue method, it's more stable and lasts longer, and I feel like those don't have issues if you leave it in the piping bag to pipe right before you need to bake. So that's another convoluted answer of it might work for you, it might not. It does not work for me to pipe to keep batter in my piping bag for a really long time. Guys, I'm so nervous to check. My stomach hurts. We've got 30 seconds, and I'm scared that they're cracked. goodies. A first tray came out perfect for someone. Macs are hollow, lots of air. Ugly feet to give me nice feet but hollow. Okay, I'm gonna open. Yeah, my husband's gonna move it around so you guys can see at the same time. All right, guys, you ready? Oh, some are crooked, but they didn't crack. This is good. Let's also check what the oven temp is at. So we've got, it's at 310. Okay. So it's staying fairly true to temp. It didn't raise too high. I'm gonna go for another 8 minutes. I said 18. And then I think they're okay at that temperature, so we're good. Thanks, darling. I got someone to help me. Gotta go up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That scared me. The first time. Okay, let me get back. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate it. We'll be opening the door, deflate them. So I've seen some people who flip, because their oven tends to get lopsided macarons, they flip their oven every 5 minutes and it doesn't deflate them. If you're quick enough, I don't think it's a problem. I've even vented my oven for like the first 8 minutes and it doesn't deflate my macarons. So it really depends on your oven again, but I wouldn't let them sit out for a long time and then put them back in. That would definitely cause some issues with the baking. They didn't crack, I know. 1/8 of a teaspoon for indulge with Mimi. So for this small of a recipe, someone said 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar would work. Let's see here. New home, yes, new home. We moved to Portland, Oregon. So someone asked if they have any advice. Hi, Lauren. If there's any advice. Thank you, Winnie. It's hard for me to focus, you guys. Okay. Any advice on if you have both settings, convection or conventional? So you can turn on and off your fan. I loved the convection oven of when I had it at someone else's home and I was using it. That being said, I've heard some people say they burn them too quickly. It does. The convection baked, in my experience of convection, baked them so fast. Whereas my previous oven would bake for 20 something minutes, this would bake like in 14 to 16 minutes. So definitely want to check constantly if you're going to switch the settings. I believe there is more chance of a full shell with a convection oven. It just circulates heat better. Conduction of heat is better and allows it to rise up really nice and evenly. Okay. You should try that. Of course, Lauren. You're the best. Tips to get your macs to dry. We just put the fan on and it helps dry ours. Air conditioner. I've heard some people blow with their blow dryer, like maybe on the cool setting. I don't know. It makes me a little nervous. But someone also said that they put their macarons in the oven to dry at a really low temperature. I haven't tried that, but someone in Hawaii was saying that, and then in the last live, someone else also was saying that they did that. Dora, you're so sweet. Hi to your husband, she says. Wesley. He says hi. You can't see him waving, but he says hi. Oh, happy anniversary. 21 altogether, 21 years altogether. We just, happy anniversary. We just had our 12-year anniversary, and that seems like, in some aspects, a lot, and some, like, can't believe we're older now. Like, I don't know how to even explain it. 21 is crazy. Congratulations. Convection browns and fades. Okay, so someone said their convection oven tends to make the color not as vibrant. So that's something to think about as well. That's good to know. I sadly don't have too much experience with them besides the 6 weeks I was with my mother-in-law during like March and April. But dried super fast. So you did, someone did the oven. So how did you do it? They dried in the oven. Okay, so 200 Fahrenheit for 6 to 7 minutes. It only needed 3 minutes though. Wow. Sorry, I'm reading it as I'm talking. That's really interesting. I smell the almond flour, so I'm gonna check on mine. So my oven is now almost at 350, so it did go up. There's 2 more minutes left, 2.5 more minutes. So that would be 10 plus 8 would have been 18, so that's about 16 minutes, and they might be done already. So I'm just gonna play around down here for a second and see if it comes off the mat. All right. I don't want to burn them. Oh, the back ones don't feel as done. I'm gonna go for 1 more minute, so it'd be about 17 minutes, and then I'll pull them out. Someone asked if they have any solutions for blotchy tops. I did tell someone maybe to dry out your almond flour before using it, and it worked for them. Some other things could be the coloring you're using. If at all it's oil-based, make sure it's not. And just making sure you bake all the way through. Sometimes it looks oily if they're soft and you haven't baked them all the way. I have tried Swiss meringue method with macarons once, and I need to try it again. I tried it live. Broma's Bakery, I think it was the method, and it was fine. They weren't super full, but I also was talking as I did the method for the first time. So I want to give it another try, and I hear the batter of that is pretty good, like stable. So maybe you could have that piping bag, the batter waiting in the piping bag if you tried Swiss meringue method. I'm not sure. All right, I'm gonna take these bad boys out. Ta-da! I love that someone said that while their baby was napping, they made the filling. So sweet. Those are precious moments. You must love baking if you're using your nap time solitude as a mom to get that done. Okay, so that was a little less than 18 minutes. They are done, hopefully. I'm gonna let them cool. Let me get you guys a look. Let me like not burn myself. Look at them. We've got this Jovi is not. Okay. Can you see that? We've got a few lopsided ones. Let's see, where'd they go? This one, lopsided. This one's lopsided. And I think there was one more right here. That one. So 3 lopsided ones could just be my macaronage process. Whoops. Sorry. Oh, it's so hot by the oven. Thank you. Someone said they look beautiful. How's everyone else doing with their bakes? $280 for 21 minutes. That sounds about right. That's about what I did for mine, for my previous oven. This one was surprising. I think because I didn't lower it, it baked a lot faster. I'm wondering how full they are. Let's get one of these. Let's see if I can. It's hot. Don't do this at home. Oh, trying to get one. I'll just use this one. I wanted to get one of the lopsided ones to test out. There's a gap. Not bad. If I go like this, you guys couldn't tell. Just push it up a tiny bit. But they look good. Yay! First time's a charm. They're delicious. Haven't baked macarons for like the longest stretch, I feel like, in years. So I was so excited to make these. It took all my strength not to make these this weekend. I was telling my husband, I was like, I just want to make a batch today, but I didn't want to have to say this wasn't my first time, so I held off. Yes, cookie nibs said after maturing they'll be great. I agree. They'll be really nice. We can't really fill them right now because they're too hot, but if you want to stick around and fill together, we can. So I shared a filling recipe, and that was the blackberry jam kind of thing. It's basically a pie filling, but an easier way than jam because you don't have to worry about pectin or anything. It's just thickened with cornstarch. So I made that. It wasn't as thick as I wanted it. The trouble with cooking fruit is you lose the beauty of its just like freshness. And when in summertime especially, and if it's fresh fruit, I have a really hard time cooking my fruit down. So I went not as far as I should have, and it's not as thick as I wanted. So, hello. So I made some lemon buttercream to go with it to dam. So I'll do a circle of lemon buttercream and then put the blue blackberry, I'm like, what am I saying? Blackberry filling in the middle. Let's see if I can say this. If you wanted, you could mix the blackberry filling in with buttercream, so it's not as wet of a filling too, if you wanted it to last longer. I feel like mixing it in is really good, but I just love a straight jam macaron. So I was wanting that, but I pulled the plug too early on when I was making the blackberry filling, so it wasn't thick enough, but I'll show you guys what it is now. I think she did. Yeah, someone asked what temperature it was. I preheated at 300, dropped down to 290. Next time I might even do 285 just because it went up so high towards the end of the bake. It was around like 325. The oven shut up. So let me wash my hands, even though these are just for us. Short girl problems. I have to stand on my tippy toes. What? It's 3 a.m. there. Oh my goodness. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I was able to answer your questions. Still be a little chewy. Should the bottom be still a little chewy and soft when you pull them out of the oven? The bottom of the macarons, I feel like they do, once they sit for a little while, they harden. So don't wait for them to be super hard in the oven or else they'll be overbaked, if that's what you mean. Give it a little, I I don't know what I'm saying. Like they definitely harden up now. So yeah, I guess they should be a little softer. And then once they cool, they shouldn't be soft at all. Because then once you put that moisture and that filling in, it's gonna get way too soft too quickly. Hopefully that answers it. So why not watch? Hello, Sarah. Thanks for joining in. We've just finished making our macarons. We're gonna fill them if you wanna stick around. If you have prepared your stuff at home, we have Blackberry filling, sort of like a pie filling for the macarons. However, mine is a little bit wet. You might have cooked it more, but I'm gonna dam it with some lemon buttercream because I wanted to keep it light and tart and hopefully have a nice summer treat. Any tips for me? Zanab, you know me and pronouncing really well the names. I have only the tips that I have given you today. Strong meringue, definitely just giving yourself grace as well as you keep trying and realize that it takes a couple of times in your environment to get things to work. Let's see here. A beautiful kitchen, thank you. I feel like I missed a lot of questions. Stick to the parchment. Even when they're overbaked. Interesting, on parchment too. Definitely let them cool completely. If you feel like they're sticking, just throw them into the freezer really fast. If your sheet pan fits into your freezer, let me try to get these words out. I recommend putting them in the freezer real fast, about 1 minute, and they pop off easier. Hopefully that will help. I've also heard some people put them back in the oven, but I haven't looked into that, so I don't know, but that could be an option too. Excuse me. Let's see here. Stovetop. How do you know the macs are completely ready to be taken out? How do you know if macarons are ready to be taken out? I think it's more of a seasoned thing that I kind of can tell. I can start smelling the almond flour. You don't want it to burn, right? And I feel like you start to smell it right before, right when it's about ready to be done. Also, I always teach that if you press down on some of them are loose, so I don't want to take them off, but if you press down gently on the top, if the feet at all push down too, then bake like a minute or two longer. Also, sometimes I can see moisture in the feet. Bake longer because that's obviously, if there's moisture in the feet on the outside, there's going to be too much moisture in the middle as well. So you want the feet to look dried, and hopefully that will make sense as you do it. What do I do when it's done and failed? Eat them. I'll definitely eat them. Serve them to my children. You can still, depending on how much they've failed, you can still sandwich them and give them love and eat them. Also, I just remembered Sasha from, I'm like trying to think, there's so many Sashas now, but the one in Chicago, she has a Italian meringue macaron recipe that reuses macaron shells that have failed. That's something to look into. I just look for like Sasha cakes. I'm really having a moment that I can't think of. Yes, Christina says, Sasha Cakes, Chicago. Thank you, Christina. Christina has used her recipe too. So if you want to reuse, you can try her Italian meringue method. I haven't tried it, but I've heard it works. Yes, Dora, you can smell it, right? It's just, you kind of smell the almond flour toasting up and getting ready to get in your tummy. So, all right. Thank you, Christina. Yes, she sells it on Etsy, and I think there's a direct link in her profile on Instagram. Someone said, why are my macarons always blotchy? I've had a few people say this, and either it's not baked all the way through, your almond flour might be too oily, and you can try to dry it out in the oven before you use it and make sure it's cooled all the way. Another thing could be something of your product, such as coloring. If you're using an oil-based color, it can make it blotchy. Salt. I feel like sometimes salt can react with things if you're using iodized, what is that word? Iodized salt. I use kosher salt. That could also react with something and make it funky. These are just, that one is an assumption that I've come up with on my own and haven't tested. So I don't know, but those are simple things you can try to change, and maybe that will help. Sugar substitutes, someone asked about sugar substitutes. I would not recommend it. Someone did say that they tried a certain substitute to make it keto friendly, and it did not work. They were hollow, like stevia and all those types of things. I just feel like it doesn't produce the same meringue, and you can run into issues. Bye, someone said bye. Yes, go to sleep. Thanks for joining in. How do you make it? Someone asked how you make the macarons. You could rewatch this. It will be on here, or I have a macaron tutorial. So you can watch that too, which will be a little bit quicker because it's not live time. There's some TV magic thrown in there. All right, guys. I think my macarons might be ready to fill. Let's check this out. What do you do if your macarons do not mature in the fridge? I've had a few people say that their macarons are hard and they don't soften up. And I'm bewildered. I think the only issue I can think of is that they're overbaked. And that if you know you've overbaked your shells before filling, you can brush with a little bit of simple syrup or maybe some milk to soften them up and see if that helps before you put your filling in. Other than that, I can't think of why macarons wouldn't soften up with your moist filling. How do you clean the silk pad if there is stuff stuck on pieces? How do I clean it? If there's some pieces that are stuck, it usually comes out really easily with water. I'll just get my sponge. I like to use the soft part of the sponge, and you can just wipe it right off once it's moist and wet. You can also use a scraper if you want. Someone asked, I didn't know if it was the one that they asked for, but the bowl scraper, that's more, for a circle. So if you have a bench scraper, you can use something like this, and then keep it on your sheet tray and just kind of scrape it off before you wipe it down. It works really easily too. I am gonna fill my macarons. We're gonna do a blackberry filling and lemon buttercream. I will not be painting it, no. You get that when my temp is low. Make some cookies. Enjoy your cookies. I always want some chocolate chip cookies, and yet I never make them. I do not mind if you DM me. I take a little bit of time to get back these days, but I will get back to you. What do you do when you're done? Okay, I think can't wait for your croissant. What did that say? I'm making peach cobbler filling. Oh, that sounds so good. Cookie Nibs. You told me your name, I think, last week. Will you tell me again? Sherry Bell. I like that name. Are your countertops extra tall? I'm just short. I'm 4'11". Oh, that's funny. Oh gosh. All right. So let's fill these bad boys. I love that so much. No, I'm just really short. Thank you. Yes, it's so nice to feel settled in. We haven't lived in a home since, I mean, for me, it was since I was at home before, you know, in high school. So it's an adjustment, not feeling as like cozy in a condo or a townhouse, but it's nice to have a home. Okay, we've got the lemon buttercream. This is not my usual lemon rosemary buttercream. I went a little bit more on the sugar on this. So it was 113 grams of butter, 200 grams of confectioner sugar, a zest of 1 big lemon, lots of zest, and a tablespoon of juice and salt. Make sure with whatever, I just did a pinch of salt, but whenever you're doing desserts, add salt. It really helps just round out the flavors of everything. I know some people don't like adding salt to anything, but it really does do wonders of a difference. So we've got the lemon buttercream here. I'll pair up my little dudes in a second. That should be enough for this little batch. Then I'll show you guys the blackberry. Yeah, I don't know where we should. Let's do it here maybe. Should I make brownies? Make some brownies. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. Brownies! I don't know if you guys like golfing, but Ricky Fowler. Okay. I'm losing my mind because I'm so excited. You've got lemon buttercream. And we've got our blackberry jam. I think so I don't waste another piping bag. I think I'll just spoon in the blackberry part afterwards, which I don't usually do, but I'm feeling lazy as I get water on them. Okay, let's do it. Let's pair these bad boys up. What city or town? I am in Portland, Oregon. It's funny how some people, here they are, they look nice. Some people love big feet. Some people are begging to help with like having larger feet. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys like, I feel like these are pretty small feet here in this result. Do you like this look or do you like taller feet? I spilled water on that one. Pair them up. Where are you guys at? Oh, thank you, Sonia. The Kentwood mixes KitchenAid. Kenwood, is that a type of mixer, like a big stand mixer? Hand? Oh, got it. Okay. This is what happens when you drop water on it. When I was washing my hands, I got water on it and it gets it, like dissolves the top. So be careful with water in your macarons. Ah, only 10 years old. Yes, make some brownies. Okay. that is the size you normally get. Okay, so you want bigger feet. So some people want bigger feet. I like them small. It's so interesting to me. Everyone loves different things, and it always is intriguing to find out how people like the aesthetics of it all. Not doing very good with guessing the sizes. There we go. Boom, boom. Small babies, crooked ones. Okay. So after I pair them, yours are always small. Some made some burger buns that came out. Ooh, burger bun max. I've always wanted to try doing a burger macaron. They look so fun. I'd want to know if when I was eating it, how I would feel. Like if I'd be too weirded out or not. When we did savory macs, I did like a short rib inside the macarons with the sweet shell. I didn't even take any sugar out of the shell. It was weird. Gotta be honest with you. This guy's just humongous. So, okay. That's probably better. I'll just eat them. Okay, so I lay them out like this. That's how yours come out, but they're hollow inside. Nana, have you tried to, here's the lemon buttercream. I'm just gonna do a small amount because I wanted these to be super fresh and not too buttery. So just a little ring around the buttercream. So cheesy. You can see the lemon zest in here. I don't think I said lemon zest. Oh yeah, I did. So just, this is a tiny 4-inch tip. Sorry, not inch, millimeter, question mark. Okay, so that the purpose of that is to dam this more liquid filling. So if you have something like this, the shelf life will go down a bit. It is thick, but it's definitely not as thick as my jam is usually, which can stand alone. So just a little dab like that. Put it together. And you've got yourself a cutie little blackberry lemon macaron. I love them. Why are they so dang cute? We got, again, if you're doing a huge batch of these, so much faster to get a piping bag. And make sure you cut the hole big enough to fit the fruit pieces. Or you can even strain this mixture if you don't want the seeds in it. But I like kind of getting that full berry in there. That makes sense. So. Bada bing, bada boom. We'll use the rest of this, just put it in with our Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. Yum, or over ice cream. Oops. Or you could even lay this out and make like a pie crust and make either a pie or a crumble. Yeah, I'll eat any of that. Okay, sandwich them all together and we are gonna be done. I feel like this didn't go as long as I was thinking. I was assuming it would take so long to dry these macarons, so I think it worked okay. Oh no, it's been 99 minutes. Oh no, I'm just having fun. Time flies. So I love this look, but it makes for a really messy macaron if you're selling them. So try not to get it out of the dammed buttercream if you're selling, because when you put this in a package, it's just gonna get everywhere. But I love that look. It's so cool. It just looks so scrumptious. All right, guys. And that's that. We did it. In one of your videos, you suggested using 2 stacked baking sheets. Okay, so sorry about that. Yes. If you don't prefer flipping your tray over, if you stack your trays up one on top of the other, it's gonna help with evenly raising your macarons when they're in the oven. So if you tend to get lopsided macarons and your oven it's not bad to have a lip, then definitely try double stacking your sheet trays. I did that with Italian method, and it would help my feet not be lopsided. Doesn't the jam make the shells soggy? So no, it doesn't. It will lessen the shelf life of them. Someone asked if the jam or the moist filling makes them soggy. If you don't bake long enough, yes, it will cause them to be a soggy mess very quickly. But if you bake long enough, they are gonna be just fine for the 3 to 4 days of the shelf life that you need them. If you wanted to make them last even longer, you could put the buttercream and mix it in with, put the filling in with the buttercream and flavor it, like use this and mix it in with buttercream and flavor it that way, and then it won't be so much moisture right away. But my straight jam macarons, when I'm actually making a jam and not using cornstarch to thicken, you can control how much you cook off better. And so I make it more of like a pâte à fouille, which is those kind of like a gummy bear texture, not as much, but you take out so much moisture, and the downside of that is that you're also cooking the fruit down more and losing some of that freshness. But it's kind of, you have to find the middle ground. Either way, you can do it. Just play around with how far you want to take your moist fillings and bake your macarons enough. Okay. Please someone tell me how this has so many people. Zachary, I don't know, but thank you for tuning in. Or if you don't like it, you can leave. But you guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in for this huge amount of time. I thought we were doing really quick on time, but no, it's been a lot of time. So much appreciated. Thanks for joining me as we do our first bake in our new home, and I loved it. Thank you, Christina, for tuning in. Nicole, thanks, Christina. This oven is a Frigidaire. I feel like I choked on my word. Same brand as my previous oven, if anyone's interested. And I think we went over everything else. Thank you so much, you guys. You're still here. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Our final little results. Little blackberry lemon macarons will be ready tomorrow for eating, but I might eat them all right now. I said that before you dropped the camera. What did they say?
Camera work.
Oh. Oh man. Yeah, the camera dropped. That's okay. It's exciting. Okay guys, I will peace out and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have further questions, comment down below and I am going to get back to you. I am very behind on my YouTube comments and I need to get back. Dora, thank you for tuning in. I really hope you and your husband have an awesome, awesome anniversary. Thank you so much, Amanda. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye, Esther. You guys are amazing. So thank you. I'm so excited we baked today. I don't like my tummy showing though. Okay. I'm leaving. I'm leaving now. I forgot I have to turn it off here, that's why. Hello from Costa Rica and goodbye. Bye-bye. Peace out.